Good morning. Nate here with the Volunteer Tech Vlog on the Lockdown 101 YouTube channel on this warming up Tuesday morning. So we've had some serious cold up here in the Northeast, and I tell you what, it hit like 35 degrees already, and it's like about 8:30 in the morning, and it feels like it's 60 right now. Like I feel like I'm sweating because the weather's been like -10, so when it gets up to 35, it feels very warm. But anyway, everything's melting right now. All the ice is slowly receding, and we're seeing lots of puddles. So, but anyway, I wanted to talk about the Grammys last night. So I just made a video posing the question, what did you hear? What do you think you heard? To all those aspiring live sound people out there. It's important to talk about this stuff and to try to figure out what went wrong so you can learn from other people's misfortunes. And so I actually have to admit, I was not watching the Grammys last night. I was actually watching Netflix. We were watching Fixer Upper. I should have been watching the Grammys, but I normally do. I like to stay up to date with all that stuff, especially album of the year and those awards that are related to the production of really high quality albums. Those are the ones I've really been paying attention to a lot more in recent years. So I bought the latest Beck album. But anyway, I digress. So apparently I'm sitting here watching Fixer Upper with my wife, and my phone starts blowing up, and I'm seeing like all these Facebook posts and tweets and everything about Adele's performance and something about the sound guy. I'm like, oh geez, here we go again, poor sound guy. And so quickly, actually my wife was curious to hear what happened, so she that's how you know it's a big deal. So it's not just me that's like, oh geez, I wonder what happened there with the audio. It was my wife, who is not an audio person, but she was just curious about the virality of the whole thing, why everybody was talking about it. So quickly looked up a YouTube clip or somewhere somebody had already posted something about, and the Grammys were like still going on, and so she posted about it. And yeah, so we listened back to it, and my first reaction was like, when we're listening on a phone, on a cell phone, my first reaction was okay, where's the random acoustic guitar and why is it so out of tune? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I knew it was a string, something with strings that was not sounding right, and I'm seeing, okay, there's a piano and Adele. What am I missing here? There's something. What went wrong? What could have possibly gone wrong with, like, piano and a singer? And come to find out, well, this is still speculation, but and I can't admit, I can't take credit for it, because I saw one of my friends post about it. It was posting that the piano microphone that was mounted inside the piano, underneath the cover, the hood of that piano, had most likely come loose and was bouncing around on the strings, and when the piano player hit certain chords, the chords vibrate, and that's how sound is created, but it would rattle that microphone around and create this undesirable sound that you would hear that would just sound like it was coming out of left field. So that's I guess I can't take credit for my take on it, because I didn't even have time to think about it, but somebody else had already shared in my Facebook feed, and it was probably a piano. So that's I would probably agree with that. That's probably the most likely thing that happened, was a piano microphone. So what do we learn from this? We learn that you have to secure your piano microphones very, very securely. And the reality is that it's whoever's mixing, it's their responsibility to make sure all the microphones are screwed down tightly, and they are secure, they're not going anywhere. But the reality is, in a situation like that, where you've got acts that are changing and things that are happening, it's probably not the audio guy's fault. There's probably an assistant or a stagehand or somebody that unknowingly bumped something or loosened something or dislodged something, and just in the hustle and bustle of getting a piano out there, or whatever the situation was, the microphone came loose, and when nobody knew until the song started. Now, that said, when that happens, there are certain situations where it is completely appropriate for a guy dressed in black to go out onto stage and to fix the problem. Now, this is a tough one. I mean, if you're just doing sound at your church and something like this happens, like, there's not that much pressure to just be like, oh, yep, flip this button, or, oh, hey, this came loose, go up there in the middle of the song, open up the piano. But if it's the Grammys, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know something went wrong. Everybody's looking at you. What do you do? It's a tough one. It's a tough one because you don't want to interrupt the show. You want to be invisible, but at the same time, there are situations where you need to make the call to run out on stage and fix something. Now, this is why being able to think on your feet and have a split-second decision making, and being able to understand what's happening with audio and be dialed in, like completely focused on audio, to have that skill and that ability is such an important skill to have. And I can't say I would have done anything differently if I was in that same situation, because what are you going to do? Chances are you're not going to be allowed to go out there. I don't know what the situation was, but so there's that. And then so that was the first thing I heard. Obviously wrong was that guitar. What I thought was a horrible out of tune ukulele or guitar was actually a microphone bouncing around on piano strings as they were activated by the piano player. But there was other things that I heard too, and I think it had to do with Adele's microphone. So her microphone was so being the audio guy, I can put myself in the shoes of the person mixing, and you would hear something wrong, and the first thing you do is like, I got two sources. I've got a piano and a vocal. What sounds bad? There's either something going wrong with the piano or the vocal. So you could tell that they quickly were like turning down. Sorry for that rattle back there. Got junk in my back seat. You could tell they were quickly turning down faders to see if they could isolate what was happening, which is interesting, because you could tell they were in a panic, because in a situation like that, you would use the solo button, and you would go through and solo each thing until you could isolate what had happened. But they were just like mixing like in the house to try to isolate that. So I feel bad for the audio guy, but anyway, learning experience. What can we learn from it? Now we've learned the sound of what I think is a microphone bouncing around on the strings of a piano, and also the importance of knowing how to use the solo button. That would come in very handy to isolate that. And then so that's two things. And the third thing is knowing when to run out on stage and say, all right guys, hang on a second, your guitar's out of tune, give that to me. No, don't ever do that. Well, there might be a situation when you do that, but I mean, if something's wrong, that would be very insulting to a guitar player. But if something's wrong with the piano like that, tough call, Grammys. You can go out there and muck with things live for a live broadcast in front of millions of people. I don't know who makes that call. If you know who makes that call or who should have made that call, let me know, because I'm obviously the stage director, whoever's in charge of the whole performance would have to make that call. But they might not necessarily be an audio expert. They might be more gifted in other situations like lighting or just management or operations, or they're looking after the whole show. They might have been confused about what was happening, so they might not have reacted as quickly. So yeah, tough call, but love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think my assumption is right? Do you think that that's what the sound was? Did you hear anything else that I didn't hear? Love to hear from you. This is Nate with the Volunteer Tech Vlog on the Live Sound 101 YouTube channel. I'll see you in the next video.